covering new ground and venturing out to where no one has ever been before. That is what it may feel like when you're in data science. Or is it? That's what we will be discussing in this next episode of Studio Data here at the Big Data Expo, where I'm joined by Romain Doutriaux and Giovanni Lanzani from GoDataDriven. Romain, great that you're here. Welcome.
Thanks, Walter. Thanks for having me.
Giovanni, great that you could join here at the trade show.
Thanks for having me here, Walter.
And we're here because, Romain, you are the head of EMEA Marketing at Dataiku. And today you're premiering your documentary, Data Science Pioneers. Is that correct?
Data Science Pioneers, Conquering the Next Frontier. But I agree, the title is a bit long.
Let's start at the beginning. Dataiku, what do you do?
So in a nutshell, basically, we are developing an advanced analytics software that helps our customers to, basically run enterprise AI projects. By that, I mean that we're not helping them to develop one small data project in one area of their company, but we make sure it involves the whole company and it transforms the whole company. Tagline is your path to enterprise AI, and I think that pretty much says it all.
What does a documentary have to do with what Dataiku does?
So we talked with a lot of different customers along the year. It can be in Europe, in North America, in APAC, big ones, small ones, and different persons, of course. But we talked with a lot of data scientists. And what was really striking is that they're all very different. They come from diverse backgrounds. They do very different stuff. But we found two main common points that were really striking. The first one, they are all doing new stuff, crazy one. They're all being pioneers in their field, just like Giovanni actually. And at the same time, they all get this growing feeling of being accountable for their societal impact.
Yeah.
So we thought this diversity, unity thing was the beginning of a good story we decided to tell.
Awesome. Yeah, and like Romain said, Giovanni, you are one of the stars of this documentary. What was it like to be in such a production?
I think it was very exciting, and it was an honor to be there, especially to be able to, in my daily life you have a lot of tasks to do every day and you kind of go through them and then you sit down in front of a camera and you have to kind of take an introspection of where are we going, like this pioneering, where are we headed? And I found it really super interesting.
Yeah. So let's take a look at a quick preview of the documentary.
I want to use my artificial intelligence to help humans live a better life.
Data science is truly revolutionizing the world.
Every engineer will have some exposure to data science, and therefore every consumer in the world will be interacting with something that is to do with machine learning.
The potential to unlock so much information, to unlock so many new ways of exploring our world and doing better for our world.
There's been a lot of issues where data science goes wrong. Facebook is a great example, the Cambridge Analytica stuff.
We have revolutionized digital marketing, but what did the consumer get from that?
First of all, that looks great. But, Romain, I must say, the message I got here was a little pessimistic.
Yeah, well, you'll need to watch the entire documentary to realize it's a bit more...
This is just the introduction. Right, this is where it starts. But is that the image that you want to set?
No, I think the idea was that we wanted first to show all the challenges, all the AI ethics concerns, about AI. But hopefully we managed to gather 20 talented data scientists, so the opinions are much more mixed, and hopefully it all ends up pretty well. Hopefully.
Yeah, and after all, that's what pioneering is all about, right? It is not always green grass and flowers. You have to work hard before you get somewhere.
Totally, and actually that's the feedback we had from most of the attendees. So we shot in New York, in London, in Amsterdam, in Stuttgart, with people from BBC, Booking.com, Daimler, GoDataDriven, of course. And their feedback was quite unanimous. Plenty of changes everywhere. No idea which will look like tomorrow. Yeah. But damn, today is very exciting.
Yeah. And Giovanni, for you as a former data scientist, you have a different role now. But does it feel for you also to be a pioneer when you're in data science? Has it felt like that?
I think being with GoDataDriven, we were in the Netherlands among the earliest companies doing this. We are really much pioneers in the first one to try new things out. And I think now in my new role, I kind of switched to a different definition of pioneer. In the army, the pioneer is an infantry unit that prepares the terrain for the rest of the army. So for the rest of the body to move through. And this preparing the terrain, I think it's super interesting to speed up the transition and actually enable the positive change that comes with data science. So we found the challenges like between the first companies here, and now we know what the challenges were. So we thought a lot about how can we help them, and how can we help other people, other customers who actually got through faster than what we did the first time, and the second time, the third time. And after a while, this process really brings real value to the table.
And where do you see the biggest challenges of that?
I think in the first, if you look at like 2010, 2015, the challenges were mostly technical. Like the technology was new, everything was new. And we saw in 2015 that the rise of the cloud that kind of solved a lot of these challenges that people traditionally had. But now the new set of challenges is arising, which is how do we bring the business with us? How can we make sure that it's not like a party of IT, but it's actually helping the company or helping the society when we're talking about the government to proceed. Yep. And I think this role of connecting the business with the technique, we call it the analytics translator role, it's fundamental for data science in 2019 and in the years to come.
And to drive change, it's also really important the people factor, as Giovanni said, and passion is a real big driver for change. And if I've seen the documentary, and I see passion in the eyes of every individual that has been interviewed. Is that something, Romain, you see as a typical characteristic of successful data scientists, that they are passionate about what they do?
Yeah, undoubtedly, yes. And I mean, we get many data scientists at Dataiku, and from an external point of view, just like me, I see them spending hours and hours coding stuff, reading awfully boring papers, and they seem to enjoy it. So yeah, they look pretty excited.
Yeah, cool. An interesting thing, Giovanni, you remarked is that you would love data to change the world. We went round here at the expo floor and asked people if they think that data will solve all the big problems in the world. And this is what they said.
Het is een kwestie van tijd totdat data alle wereldproblemen oplost. Ik ben het daar niet mee eens. Ik denk dat de problemen opgelost gaan worden, maar dat er juist weer nieuwe problemen gaan ontstaan door data. Dus er zullen altijd wel wereldproblemen zijn en data zal het alleen laten veranderen, denk ik.
Ik denk dat we met gebruik van data heel wat kunnen oplossen. Alleen met elkaar, met de samenleving, met de overheid, met het bedrijfsleven moeten bepalen van in hoeverre we dat moeten doen. Wat voor gevolgen gaat het met zich meebrengen? En we moeten er niet later op terugkomen van we hadden het toch niet moeten doen. Want het kan zijn dat we het niet meer terug kunnen draaien, de situatie. Dus het is heel goed dat we daar gebruik van maken. Alleen samen moeten we bepalen van in hoeverre. En wie gaat daar de controle over houden.
Yeah, real interesting insights from the trade show floor. Romain, I'll briefly summarize for you. But the first person remarked that data will not solve the problems of the world, because as soon as we solve one thing, new problems will arise, and this is an ever-going cycle. The other person remarked that we have to really be careful about what we do with data and how much trust we put in data applications, because at some point we'll reach the point of no return, and we might look back and feel sorry for all the choices that we made. And this brings us back also to the opening of the documentary, that there's still quite a lot of fear, maybe uncertainty about data. First question here is, what do you think that your documentary can contribute to getting rid of this uncertainty or fear, or does it?
So I hope anyway, with this documentary, we're able to show people the big picture and to hear it from the experts. And when you talk with them, when you watch the documentary, you realize that they believe more and more stuff can be done with big data, but it's not like a miracle stuff. You need to learn, you need to educate the people. And at some point, and I think that's a very interesting point, you want it to end up being boring. It doesn't have to be incorporated into each and every project you're running. You just need to use it for the right one. And I think there's a very interesting analogy with electricity. Like no one comes to you, Giovanni, asking, how can I put electricity in my project? Whereas everyone comes to you asking, how can I put AI in my project? So we want AI to be boring, I think.
Yeah. And Giovanni, if you could respond to what both people in this clip said, what would you say?
Yeah, I think the first one saying that there will always be new problem popping up. It's true on one hand. On the other hand, I think that the data science is permeating more and more layers in the society and in the working environment we're in. So more people are actually available to tackle this problem. And the second part is absolutely true. I think the documentary also touches a lot of points on the ethics, which is something that gets more, and rightfully so, gets more and more attention in this time. I mean, just because we can doesn't mean that we have to. So I think it's a really valid point, and it's also something where we need, as a community, to really think about is it good what we're doing?
Romain, while shooting the documentary, what surprised you most in the feedback you got from the interviewees?
Good question. I think what really surprised us is to see, well, they're all data scientists, but they all end up doing stuff extremely different, and it's not a problem to them. I mean, some data scientists we talk with almost do business reporting and business strategy. Some others are very much more focused on the mathematical side, statistical side. So they all end up doing very different jobs, and they're all fine with that. So it made me think about what's the next step for them? What's the next sexy job title they're gonna get? And can't wait to see that.
Yeah, great. I want to thank you both for joining. I really look forward to the premiere here, and I'm really curious about what the people have to say. And like both of you believe as well, I hope that the documentary will contribute to making data boring in the future and amongst all of us. Thanks for joining.
Thanks a lot.
And thanks for watching this episode of Studio Data here at the Big Data Expo. See you next time.